You meet someone who lights up your world at first. Intense emotional chemistry, late night conversations that feel like they stretch time. That rare moment when someone actually sees you. It feels electric, like your soul recognizes theirs. You laugh easily, feel understood, and believe you found something rare and precious. But as days turn into weeks, and weeks into months, that magic that once felt like gravity, the force that pulled you together, starts to feel like weight pressing down on your chest. The late night calls that once felt essential begin to dry up. Small cracks begin to appear. A tone a little too sharp. A joke that cuts deeper than it should. An explanation that doesn't quite land. And somewhere between the heartbeats of passion and the pulses of pain, you wake up one morning in a place that's both painfully familiar and strangely uncomfortable. You know this isn't right. You know you deserve better. You know your gut is screaming. This is toxicity. But you stay. Even when your mind screams leave, your heart, your history, your sense of self hold you there. You stay even when the relationship is draining you emotionally, tethering your confidence and undermining your peace of mind. You stay even when it's broken, because it's broken in familiar ways. Painful familiarity, after all, is still better than the unknown. This seemingly illogical behavior isn't random. It's wired deep into the evolution of our brains, and it's strengthened and shaped by our experiences, beliefs, and the cultural narratives we absorb. At the heart of this pattern is attachment theory, a foundational psychological model that explains how the relationships we form from infancy shape our emotional patterns well into adulthood. When we're babies, the way we experience love, safety, and connection creates our internal blueprint for relationships. If love was consistent, if caregivers soothed you reliably, responded when you cried, held you with warmth, you likely developed what psychologists call a secure attachment style. This means you grew up learning that people can be trusted, that you are worthy of care, and that setting boundaries is possible. You feel safe to be vulnerable and expect others to respond in kind. But if love was unpredictable, sometimes warm, sometimes absent, sometimes harsh, your emotional brain learned something very different. It learned that love is unreliable, conditional, and a puzzle you can never quite solve. Maybe your caregivers were loving only on their terms, or only on some days. Maybe you learned to keep your emotions guarded to avoid rejection or punishment. This type of early experience creates anxious, avoidant, or disorganized attachment styles, where relationships feel like emotional roller coasters rather than safe harbors. As adults, we unconsciously search for that same rhythm we experienced as children. We look for what feels familiar, even if it stings. Once you've known love that's chaotic, full of promises that crash into pain, your brain begins to seek that same pattern. Familiarity, even painful, feels safer than venturing into the unknown, so you cling, you stay. The science of intermittent reinforcement explains this even further. Behavioral psychology shows that unpredictable yet occasionally rewarding experiences are incredibly compelling, more so than consistently bad or consistently good ones. Imagine a slot machine. The random wins keep people hooked because the brain learns to anticipate that next chance of reward, no matter how small. In relationships, moments of intense connection, followed by withdrawal, mimic this pattern perfectly. The highs become addictive. You find yourself replaying those moments, hoping to relive the spark again. You stay because your brain is tracking, waiting for the next spark, even if it's deeply entangled with old wounds. Every brief reunion, every apology, every promise resets that fragile feeling of hope. Maybe this time. From there, self-esteem steps into the ring. Those inner voices. I'm not enough. I'll never find someone better. Maybe this is the best I can do. Whisper loudly in the background. If you've experienced trauma, neglect, or felt unlovable, your emotional brain sees any connection as proof of worth. Someone wants me. They care. Maybe I am lovable after all. And so, neurochemically and emotionally, you choose pain over emptiness. Our cultural stories don't help. Media romanticizes drama, heartbreak, and recovery. Songs tell us love hurts. Movies make intensity seem like proof of passion. Think of classic novels or films where protagonists endure hardship, fight for love, sacrifice everything, and then find redemption. Drama equates to depth. We want love that breaks us because that's the love we're told is worthy of a great story. So when your relationship is dramatic, you feel like it matters. The intensity masks instability. The emotional roller coaster feels like proof that the relationship is real. The chemistry mix inside you also perpetuates the cycle. In early relationship stages, your brain soaks in dopamine and oxytocin, the highs of connection and bonding. Dopamine fuels the thrill, the anticipation. Oxytocin deepens attachment and trust. But later, those same brain chemicals become entwined with cortisol, the stress hormone. Conflict triggers adrenaline and cortisol spikes. And the deprivation of connection makes the rebound release of oxytocin feel euphoric. It's a chemical cat-and-mouse chase. Each apology, each spark, sending you deeper into emotional dependence. The brain gets wired to want that adrenaline high again, even if it hurts. It's a biological loop that keeps you coming back. Fear is another thread in this complex tapestry of staying. Fear of abandonment, fear of loneliness, fear of starting over, fear of the unknown. Ending a toxic relationship isn't just about closing a door. It's stepping into a building still under construction. You don't know the walls, the rooms, or if it will feel safe. You'll have to create new routines, set new boundaries, and become new versions of yourself. And your brain hates uncertainty. It craves predictability and safety, so it holds on tightly even when your heart knows better. But here's the empowering truth. You are not helpless. Neuroscience shows that your brain is plastic. It can change. Just as fear and hope wired you into staying, you can rewire your brain to choose leaving. The first step is awareness, recognizing the pattern, writing down when it happened, how it felt, what triggered you, creates the tiniest crack in the illusion that keeps you stuck. Awareness is the key that begins to unlock your freedom. Next comes truth-telling, even if only with yourself at first. I deserve respect. No one has the right to tear down my self-worth. This isn't okay. As you speak these truths internally, your relational script begins to shift. When conflict spirals, instead of scrambling for resolution or forgiveness, you check in. Does this align with what I truly believe love is? Is this how I want to be treated? Then comes the boundary. A line drawn and held firm. I will calm down, but I will not tolerate that tone. I won't argue after dark. I deserve kindness, not anger. Setting boundaries is not about perfection. You will falter, but each time you reinforce your worth, your brain chips away at the old harmful pattern. Support matters. Therapy, coaching, supportive friends, they validate your voice and help you see your freedom. Saying out loud to a therapist, "That wasn't okay," gives your brain a new context. I can leave. With time and consistent boundaries, emotional dependency diminishes. The high cortisol lows become less familiar. You relearn relational safety with people willing to meet you where you are, who say what they mean what they say, and respect your limits. Healing is not linear. You might text them at night, replay memories on walks, or feel torn between connection and self-preservation. But with each boundary enforced, each time you choose your well-being over nostalgia, you slowly rewrite what love means in your brain. You learn that stability doesn't equal stagnation. You discover that peace is sacred. If this resonates, if you've ever asked yourself, why don't I leave when I know it's toxic? Know this, you're not broken. You're human. You were wired by experience, pain, and your brain's deep longing for safety. But you can unwire it. You can choose love that doesn't wound. You can gravitate toward connection that lifts, not limits. Healing doesn't mean forgetting the past. It means reclaiming your future. It means loving the person you were, comforting the parts still hurting, and trusting yourself to say no and walk away. Real love is not pain. It's presence, support, respect, and peace. If you need help seeing the brain behind your heart, click subscribe on my YouTube channel. Let's continue exploring how your mind works, and together, create healthier, happier futures.